And joined now by running backs coach Brian Smith. And Brian, you've been all over the field on this thing. I mean, you help out as a kind of a co-offensive coordinator, and you've been a line coach and working with the running backs. One thing I wanted to get to, because I remember June used to say this when you were playing. He said, don't underestimate the importance of the running game and the run and shoot. He said, we'll be best if we have a 1,000-yard rusher. I don't know if you guys will have a single 1,000-yard rusher, but I could really see that group combining certainly for 1,000 yards. That wouldn't seem like a stretch with what you got here.
No, it shouldn't. And you know, something that we tell them is that that running back group should produce 150 yards a game between the running game and their ability to catch the ball in the screens and in the passing game. So that's what's expected of them, and that's what they're being told.
You know, when I get asked surprisingly often, considering that you just have installed this offense, hey, are we going to see the shovel pass? You know, I think Nady Lauer was probably the one that's most associated with that.
Right.
But I used to think, you know, everyone said, well, it's so easy. I said, that's not that easy. Nady Lauer was really good at it. Because you're in traffic a lot of times.
Yeah, when they're catching the ball with their back to everybody. So, you know, you have to be able to have a lot of feel with that play, where you're seeing what's happening as a play develops, and as you turn, you're still feeling what's happening behind you. And that's something that we have been installing. We have been working on a lot throughout spring, and it's starting to develop and it's starting to come. And part of that is it takes kind of the special kind of player to be able to run that. It's not a play that every single back runs.
Right.
So you'll find guys that have good feel for it, they have the right patience, they get the good understanding of where the blocks develop down the field, and then those are the guys you're typically going to run the play with.
Well, let me get to this, because you guys do seem to have you kind of almost break it down into speed backs and power backs, I suppose, if you were inclined that way. I don't know, do you try to resist those characterizations? I would say, you know,
that's more Steven Size stuff.
Okay, well,
yeah,
Freddie,
we'll break it up a little bit differently.
All right.
And you know, what we try to coach our backs on is that they can do everything. You know, they should all be able to do everything within our offense. There's going to be guys that have a little bit better strengths than others and are going to be better at things than other backs, but they should be able to execute every part of our offense.
I don't think there's any question that in this offense a running back has to be able to block, because you know, when you don't have any tight ends, that's you're almost the way a lot of coaches, like one shy blocking. That guy, if he can't pick up where the blitzes are coming, I guess there's two things: knowing where it's coming and being able to execute the blocks.
Yes.
How important do you rate that in terms of the guys who are going to get on the field?
It's number one importance. You know, the biggest things that we'll stress to them going into this is, if they can't protect the quarterback, they can't protect the football, they can't play. So whatever else they bring to the game, if they can't do those two things, they're not going to get on the field. And you know, that's why all the backs, regardless of who they were, with when the offense started with Mouse, whether it was Barry Sanders or anybody else, you know, he always turned them as super backs. They had to be able to do everything, and that was part of their job requirement.
Right. Well, now I just want to ask you about a couple of guys, and I talk about guys that look like they maybe can run away from you. You know, Freddie Holly, Elijah Dale will look like they fit into that general category.
Yeah.
And can you describe the differences? I mean, even between two guys, you say, well, they get outside, they're trouble. How would you differentiate their running styles?
So Freddie's probably got the most explosive speed of the group. He's the one that can really open up and run away from people, and I would call him a little more of a slashing back, where he's one cut and getting vertical. Elijah has a little more wiggle to him. He's got a little bit more of the ability to make guys miss, where Freddie is much more of an explosive back.
Okay, and then you got a couple of guys that my impression of is that they'll run you over guys. And the Ki'ivi Chung types that, like, okay, get in his way at your own risk. I mean, who would be the other guys that you would say that's a strength for them?
Dayton Fruta, and he really showed that this past Saturday. And he's one that's really come along quickly and really well within that group, where he's extremely smart, and you know, he had a chance to play some running back in high school, so he had a little better feel for the position, just moving right into it than, say, Ki'ivi did, who was an offensive lineman in high school and has had a little bit more of a development process with him. So Dayton's really shown, Dayton's really shown good quickness, pretty good explosiveness, and he's a physical, tough kid.
Did he come over from defense?
He was tight end most recently.
Oh, okay. Tight
so
end,
he was playing tight end and some fullback for us the last year. Before that, he was playing linebacker.
Okay, so he's a guy that's adjusting. So in your perfect world, how many guys might be used rotationally even in a single game? Could it be as many as 4 guys, or would you prefer to get that number whittled?
It's hard to play 4 throughout a game.
Yeah.
3 is usually a really good number. There's times where it's more like 2. But I in our first year here, when we had a solid 3-back rotation, I thought that was really good, and that was good for the group and good for the team. Right now it's just trying to develop all of these kids, and then we'll start developing better roles for each of them, as we start getting closer to actual games.
All right, I want to get just a quick sense, because I know you guys are talking about it in meetings. When I was checking out the Alabama spring, a lot of talk about that, of course, the Alabama spring game with Tua Tagovailoa. But I was looking, even at a place where when someone said to me, well, give me a place that has crazy depth, I would say Alabama.
Right.
And even the quarterbacks are not live. I mean, they are, when a guy's got a hand on him, he's down, it's considered a sack. So I'm thinking, with most programs, considerably less depth. What do you do for the spring? How are you guys going to approach what we're calling the spring game?
There'll be live periods. I wouldn't anticipate quarterbacks being live, anything like that. With the way our depth is, it'll be more like a practice that we had Saturday, where we're going to simulate situations. We're not going to split necessarily into 2 teams and have an actual game. There'll be a lot of team periods, but some will be live, some will be thud, and it'll be more just building on the situations we've been trying to get better at throughout spring.
Depth, obviously, is going to be so important, and you did lose a lot of offensive linemen, for example. One of the things you're concerned about. Are you guys feeling like you could even find a possible starter from guys that are not here yet, the guys that are coming in the fall, or is it too much of a disadvantage?
No, there's guys coming in the fall that we're going to have play at some point, whether or not saying, hey, these guys are going to start out the gate. You cannot say that right now, but when you're bringing in 4 junior college players on the offensive line, you're bringing those guys in for them to contribute. So they're going to be competing from day one when they get here. And, I wouldn't be surprised if one of them emerges as a starter at some point.
Brian, I am so looking forward to Saturday. I understand there's an alumni event.
There is.
You're one of the people that can participate not only as a coach, but you're an alum. So it should kind of be fun seeing some of your old teammates.
It'll be great. And, I think we've done a good job the past week or two of really getting the word out about it and sending a lot of the alumni, personalized edits. I
love that jersey thing.
Yeah.
I heard that was your idea, by the way. Kudos to you. That was. I saw Mianos. I was like, well, what is this? This is so cool.
Yeah.
And he said, it's about 150 people, Rolo told me. Now it's up to 200 that are getting those.
Yeah. Well, the more they started getting out, the more we start hearing back from guys, hey, where's mine?
Yeah.
So the list's been growing and growing, and, we're really hoping to get a great turnout this Saturday, because alumni is extremely important to this program.
Very cool. Brian, thanks so much.
Okay, appreciate
good luck
it,
in practice. All right. Have a good one.